I was so upset about the fact that lagoons haven't improved in 2025. But there's one thing that made indirectly lagoons better. Did you guess it? Yes, that's right, modular building. And no abstraction for decorations. So here are the best tips and tricks to make your lagoon better in the great 2025. I think that it was pretty clear that you can surround the lagoon with rocks for a more aesthetic look to hide the iron bar. But let's be honest, instead of a metal barrier, you'll get a slightly more natural look, and in this channel we want to achieve perfection. So let's make that better. First, you want to make an abstract shape to make it look like a real fish pond from a grandpa's garden. Then slightly elevate the terrain to match the height of the metal barrier, and then elevate it a little bit so you won't run into the issue later on that the lagoon's ugly barrier is ripping through the rock. And then surround all the lagoon at the same height as close as possible. Then choose a rock that has a flat surface. I use this one, but you can use another one. And then surround the lagoon with that rock, filling in the gaps over here to make it look more irregular. By doing this, it will be way harder to recognize the basic ugly shape of the lagoon. Try using only one type of rock to save you some more time. We'll change that later. Then I like adding some taller rocks in some places, like I did over here. If you look for soil in the center tab, you'll get this amazing decoration, just for what we need. Try to use your terrain tool to add foliage as close as you can to the soil. Then you can place individually placeable foliage to make it look better. Okay, so now that you know some tips for making your island, we can get into the tips and tricks part of this video. The first tip that I want to give you is to place some rocks in the middle of your lagoon to simulate an island, and then place some more rocks underneath so it won't look like it's floating. You can also place some soil and foliage to make it look more natural. Tip: once you build the island, copy it and paste it all around the lagoon, again next to another island that you copied, to make it look more detailed with just the power of a click. You can also move it around easily by just making a group. Now this is my favorite, but you'll need a bigger island, so let's make that real quick. Okay, so now that we have it over here, and what you should do is make a big island with rocks. We will place buildings over there that won't be functional, but it will look very cool. The first thing that you can make is either choose a building made by Frontier or one that is in the workshop. I choose the building in the Frontier thing, and it was a big mistake because I couldn't place it in the island, but I know that some people tried and it succeeded. So I'm going to tell you how to do it. I also tried, but I couldn't put it in the island directly. So what you have to do is first take some pieces of your building to access the center area of your building. And then there is like the hotel, and you can just delete him, and like that you can move it freely all around the island. So like that you can place it on the island, but you also need to remove the floor pieces, and I tried doing that, but I think that there were some pieces that I couldn't remove or I didn't sew because I couldn't put it there. And also the pieces that are like glued to the ground, they also have to be removed. And then you just have to select it all and place it over the lagoon. And sometimes when you want to put it in the rocks, it will say obstructed with blue. And if it says obstructed with blue, that means that it's good, but you just have to place it higher. So when you place it higher, you will be able to place it. And then you can just elevate the rock so it will look better. Now, I couldn't do it, and I'm sorry, but yeah, it's a cool trick. Now, this is a double one, but you can make a filter and like a waterfall to make the illusion that it's falling in the lagoon. And first, I want to show you guys how to make the waterfall. So first, you have to select your place like I did over there, and just make the terrain go very, very low until the lagoon doesn't permit it to go lower. So when you have that, you just have to make it flat, and making that will allow you to place the water right next to the lagoon. And then you have to place like a mountain next to that water that you placed near the lagoon, and then make a waterfall. And if you watch from the side that I wanted my guests to watch, you could see the illusion that the waterfall was actually falling into the lagoon and not in that place that I made. So, and then you can just do the same thing, but this time with the filter. So, what you have to make is just make that again, that space that was very low, like I told you, like putting all the terrain very low and then just flattening it like I did over there. And then just place some water over there and just close the terrain so it will be very, very close and it will be just a small gap for the water to flow. And then you can just take from the workshop like the filter that I got there. You can just take it, I don't know its name, but you can look for filter and then just place it on top of the waterfall like I did here. And then it will look like the lagoon is slowly having less and less water, but the waterfall just implements more water to the lagoon.